indabyo ubaye wifuza nawe kujya gushyiraho indabyo bibuze gutambuka buhoro buhoro nawe ushyireho indabyo. We have a bouquet of flowers after the leaders coming back, also auxiliary, also put some flowers. We are having a bouquet of flowers. Please, you can join others if you're okay with it. Reka mbasabe n'abandi dutambuke dushyiremo kundabyo ku zindi mva twazenguruka nta kibazo n'ahandi inyuma harahari.
Banyarwanda banyarwandakazi abavandimwe n'inshuti zacu mwese muturutse mu gihugu tubahaye ikaze. Murakaza neza, murakaza mwisanga. Murakoze kuba mwaje ngo dufatanye muri uyu muhango wo kwibuka no gusabira abacu bitabye Imana kubera amarorererwa ya Jenoside yakorewe Abatutsi, babaziza ubusa, babaziza ubwoko bwabo, babaziza isura yabo nuko bateye. Abacitse ku icumu Imana ishimwe, abapfushije ababo mwihangane, abapfuye Imana ibahe ikiruhuko cyiza gihoraho iteka ryose. Turasaba Imana, turashimira Imana yakinze akaboko ntitwapfira gushira nkuko abaduhohoteraga bari babigenye, bari babiteguye. Turashimira nyakubahwa Perezida Paul Kagame na FPR Inkotanyi n'intwari z'u Rwanda zose mu gihugu no hanze yacyo bahagaritse ayo marorererwa, umutekano ukaba ari wose hamwe n'iterambere ridasanzwe na cyane muri Afurika. Tubashyigikire kubaka u Rwanda rwacu, 'mu bumwe, amahoro n'iterambere. kubera imbaraga z'Imana yadukijije ayo marorerwa, ndabasaba kandi nayo nyisaba idufashe ntituzigere tuyitererana. Niyo yaturemye ituba hafi igihe cyose mu mahoro no mu byaha. Dukundane, tugire ubumwe n'ubutwari bw'iterambere. Murakarama, muragahorana Imana. Murakoze cyane. Imana ibaduhere umugisha n'uyu muhango, tuwutangire neza, tuwusoze neza, mu izina rya Data n'Umwana na Roho Mutagatifu. Murakarama.
wabihisemo sinundi wabiguhitiyemo nukuri mbangurogana yaguhanze yonyine nibizi kandi byubimenya ubimenye ntacyo uramenya
Uko wisanze niko nisanze mama arebye aramubura, amubuze ararira ati mwana wanjye agiye gupfa. Arangije twese yadushyize hamwe aratubwira ati muteke murye ubu ibyacu byarangiye umunsi wageze.
So in the morning, my mother looked for her son but couldn't find him, and she cried. She said, he's gone, he's going to die. So she gathered all the rest of us and told us to cook and eat and said, this is our last day. All is finished now, we are going to die.
Haciye iminsi mike tukabona twari twegeranye n'umugezi wajyanaga muri Nyabarongo, tukabona interahamwe ziracyaza imihoro, mu kuzamuka bakatubwira ko iyo mihoro ari izadutse.
So we lived next to a river that flows into Nyabarongo that flows into Victoria, and we used to see people sharpening their machetes near the river and saying that these machetes are being prepared to kill you guys.
Iminsi yaricumye bigera ku itariki 14 haza kuza interahamwe imwe twajyaga tuha ibiryo irabwira mama ngo uyu munsi nimudahunga barabica.
So going forward to the 14th of April, there was one guy whom my family used to feed, and he came home. He told my mother that if you don't flee today, you are going to be exterminated.
Mu rugo twari abana benshi, hari n'abari baje muri vacances gusura mama, bari yarababereye nyirasenge. Twese bugorobye mu masaa 12 n'igice yatujyanye mu ishyamba, abagabo baba n'abandi n'abahungu be bakuru bakadebera hirya, ariko twebwe batujyanye mu ishyamba.
We were a large family. In addition to our own children, we had cousins who were visiting during the school break. So my mother took all of us to the nearest forest, and all the children and females were in one place in the forest, while and boys were observing from afar, trying to protect us.
Nk'uko iyo nterahamwe yabivuze, ntabwo bigeze basiba, baraje babura umuntu mu rugo, babuze umuntu batema inka. Mu gutema inka bajya hepfo ku rugo rwa musaza wanjye hari harayemo abana bari batoya, harimo n'umwe wararanye nabo mukuru ho gato yarafite n'imyaka 12.
So the killers came and began to hack cows with machetes. At home there was a 14-year-old boy. It was a girl, sorry.
Bamusanzemo niwe bamuteye icyuma, niwe bashije kwica uwo munsi, abandi bana bato barabareka bari basinze.
That day they killed that child with a knife. All the other children were sleeping at that time.
Uwo mwana mu muryango wose niwe twabashije gushyingura.
She's the only person in our family that we were able to bury.
Ubwo bwarakeye tugaruka mu rugo, twicaraho wa mwana bamushyingura munsi y'urugo. Nyuma y'iminsi 3 ku itariki 18,
so we were able to bury the child at home, and on the 18th,
mu masaa 3 z'amanywa interahamwe zaraje zigoro amafuni na za ntampongano.
So on the 18th around 9 a.m. Interahamwe is the militia that was killing Tutsis. They came armed with different weapons like machetes, like big knives and other agricultural tools that were used to kill.
Zarahageze rero twese uko twari mu rugo umuryango wose zarashoreye. Zaravuze ngo ntabwo zatwicira aho twazabanukira, ureka batunyuze inzira y'ubusamo dusange bene wacu muri Ethiopia.
So they came and gathered all of us at home and said they are not going to kill us at home because they don't want to have to experience our smell after the killing. So they decided they were going to throw us into the river so that we can join our relatives through Nyabarongo, through the Nile.
ubwo baratujyanye ntabwo hari kure, hari ahantu urugendo rw'iminota nka 30, uko batujyanaga niko bagendaga bakubita abakuru bamwe babatemagura, hagezeyo abakiri bazima bari mbarwa.
So as they were leading us to the river, which was not too far, it was like half an hour walk, they were torturing and beating and hacking us on the way with machetes and all those weapons, and only a few were able to reach the river.
Twageze kuri Nyabarongo rero bagafata umwana bagatema bakaroha muri Nyabarongo. Hari interahamwe y'umugore yitwaga Nyirabusizori, iryo zina bamwimbaga kubera kunywa cyane.
At the river, they would take one child at a time and cut them with machetes and throw them in the river. There was a woman called Nyirabusizori, for she used to drink a lot.
Yari yavuze ko abagore n'abakobwa ari buri bubiyicire mbere abanje kureba uko abatutsikazi bateye.
She was one of the killers, the horrible ones, and she had said that she's going to take care of killing females. She will first have to witness how, like, their physical shape before she kills them.
Yabamburaga imyenda, yambaye abagore bose n'abakobwa bari baraho, uko bagendaga badushoreye ni nako bagendaga bafata n'abandi baturanyi babitwara turi benshi.
So they had been joined by many other people from the area as they were leading the family to kill us, and she, with these other killers, undressed every female with us.
Yaravuze abwira mama ngo ntago bakwica, ubwanjye ntarakwiyicira ngo mbanze ngukureho uruhu ngo ndebe uko inyama z'abatutsi kazi zisa.
She told my mother, no one else is going to kill you. I will take care of killing you myself. And before I do, I'm going to make sure I remove your skin so that I can see what your flesh looks like.
Yamukubise umuhoro mu isura, ahereye mu gahanga bakura isura mu maso.
Then she kicked my mother with a machete straight from the top of the face to remove like the face.
Abagabo bo batemaguraga baroha muri Nyabarongo, ubwo nta n'umusore wari ugisigaye, abari bafite imbaraga nke nibo bari basigaye n'abana, ubwo niko bagukubitaga imihoro baroha muri Nyabarongo.
By then, no man, no boy was still standing because they were the first ones to be attacked and thrown into the river. Only the very weak were staying behind and not safe because they had been also kicked with machetes and injured.
Ubwo nanjye niko banshyizemo, ntabwo namenya ngo namazemo iminsi ingana iki.
That's how I got thrown into the river, and I can't tell how long I spent there.
Naje kwisanga Nyabarongo yanjugunye ndi mu Bisheke.
I found myself thrown away by the river and laying in the sugarcane plantation.
Namazemo iminsi 3 ariko nari umufu.
I think I spent like 3 days there, but I was dead.
Muri ibyo Bisheke naje guhuriramo na mukuru wanjye.
I came across my older sister in those sugar canes.
Nawe yari yakomeretse bamutemaguye, yatangiye kubora ibice batemaguye.
She had been also injured severely with machetes to the extent some of the parts of her body were kind of going like bad. I don't know how to say it, but they were no longer like fresh injuries.
yarambwiye ati rero reka gumare kwira hanyuma ejo tuzazamuke tujye mu ishyamba.
She told me to wait until it becomes dark so that we can try to go up the hill into the forest.
twazamutse umusozi iminsi 3. ni ukuvuga ngo twagendaga nijoro ku manywa tukihisha mu bitare.
It took us 3 days to go up the hill because we only could walk slowly and at night. During the day, we would hide behind rocks on that hill.
hari umukecuru ari inshuti na mama twagiyeyo turamukomangira ari mu ijoro. ikibabaje nuko umukecuru yaje gupfa nyuma apfa ntamushimiye.
We had my mom's friend at the top of the hill, and we went to her home at night and knocked. Sadly, she died afterwards, and my mom was not able to thank her.
yaratwakiriye twirirwa uwo munsi aduha amazi aduha ibiryo biratunanira ariko araduhisha.
So when we reached, she gave us water. She tried to feed us, but we were not able to eat. But she protected us. She hid us.
twamazeyo iminsi 2 interahamwe zimenya ko tuhari.
2 days later, the killers learned that we're with her.
yaradufashe njyewe arampeka sinari nkibasha kugenda. aravuga ngo njye agiye kunsubiza mu bisheke kumpishayo.
She decided to put me on her back because I was not able to walk, and take me back to the sugarcane field, but then took my sister to a family whose son was friends of my sisters. Those families were also friends, so she knew that.
amakuru naje kumenya yamugejejeyo ise w'uwo muhungu ajya kumuzanira ibitero.
What I learned afterwards is that it's the mother of the boyfriend who brought killers for my sister.
igitero cya mbere cyaramubonye kimuvuga ko kitamwica n'ubundi agiye kwipfira. umugore wajya kuzana ikindi gitero nicyo cyamujyanye kuri Nyabarongo barongera baramuroha nawe duherukana.
The first group this woman found and brought to kill my sister, when they arrived, they decided they were not going to kill her. The woman had to go find another group of killers. And this time they accepted the deal and took my sister to the river and killed her and threw her again in the river. That was the last time I saw her.
ubwo nakomeje inzira yanjye yo kuba mu bisheke. wa mukecuru akageza kundeba ariko iyo bari baramenye ko yahishemo inyenzi yahishe inzoka ntabwo yagiye kunsubiza mu rugo iwe kuko bahoraga baza kumusaka.
So my journey continued in the sugarcane plantation, and the woman who had protected us before continued to come and see me. She was not able to take me back home because the killers knew she was trying to protect the snake, the cockroach, and all the names they were giving us.
kugira ngo bashe kuza kundeba yafataga imigozi y'ibijumba akayikorera akanyura kuri za bariyeri ababeshya ko agiye guhinga.
In order to be able to see me, she had to pretend she's going to plant sweet potatoes. So she would take a bunch of the sweet potatoes, how do you call them? The things you plant for sweet potatoes, she would carry a lot because they have leaves and they make a big bunch that you can carry around and no one will think you have another purpose other than planting them. So that's how she made her way every time she came to see me.
yabonye uko meze abona ko ntakomeza kuba muri ibyo bisheke harimo amazi harimo n'imirambo arampeka ansubiza mu rugo.
But at some point she realized I could not continue to survive there because not only was it really, really wet as it's in the lowland land, but also there were many dead bodies. So at some point she decided to take me back home.
yaragiye ahisha mu bibindi. Mu cyaro habaga ibibindi n'inkono, arabyegeranya bihishamo.
She had a huge calabash made of clay that used to contain water or drinks, and she put me in one of those.
Haciye iminsi itatu sinzi uburyo bamenyaga ko hari umuntu, bamenya ko mpari. Icyo gihe igitero cyaje gitunguranye, yabonye bamugwaho baje kumusaka.
But I don't know how people learned whenever she tried to hide us. But one day, probably 3 days after I was there, a surprise attack came again hunting me.
Baraje barasaka, baravanamo, banjyana mu muhanda rwagati, cyari igitero kinini, banjyamisha mu muhanda.
So these attackers entered the house and searched everywhere. They found me, they took me out of the calabash and made me lay down in the middle of the road. It was a really huge group.
Ubwo batangiye gusigana uburyo bari bunyice, bamwe bavuga ko bari ntabe numva, bakanyicamo umwana wa Esperance.
So they argued about what death I was going to receive. Some were saying they should bury me alive like Esperance's child.
Uwo mwana wa Esperance bamutabye yumva, barangije bakajya bafata inkota bakajomba muri bya bitaka amaraso akazamuka.
Esperance is another neighbor whose child was buried alive, and they would take a spear and hit her like through the sand, and the blood from her would rise again through the sand.
Ubwo batangiye kunsiganira, havamo umugabo umwe wahoze ari mu ngabo za Habyarimana yari yaratashye, arababwira ngo uyu mwana ntabwo ari umututsi, ababeshya ko ndi umwana wa murumuna w'uwo mukecuru wabaga i Kigali.
Eventually, someone retired from the former government's army came across, and when he saw me, he told the killers that I'm not a Tutsi, but rather a niece of the woman who was hiding.
Ubwo bakomeje basigana, hagenda umwe ngiye kumva numva bavugije induru hirya, bari bafashe undi mututsi, ubwo bariho bakurikira, ngiye bansiga ryamye mu muhanda. Ariko interahamwe yari igiye kuntera icumu, ko nari ndyamye n'ubitsinda, iriteye rifata uruhande rw'akaboko ntiryamfata. Ubwo bose bahita biruka bazi ko uwo nguwo agiye kunyica.
So after arguing about who will kill her and how they will kill her, and hearing what the former soldier had said about her, one last guy tried to, and I'm sorry, I'll go back to the direct translation. So he wanted to kill me with a spear, and then it missed my chest and took my arm, and then everyone else ran away thinking he's already killed me. So as they were moving away from me, I heard them scream very high, and they were screaming because they had seen another Tutsi to kill.
Ubwo navuye aho ngaho ndiruka ndagenda, wa mukecuru aza kunsanga mu rutoki.
So I ran to the nearest banana plantation where the woman who was hiding me before eventually found me.
Kirakoze arongera aramfata arampeka, ansubiza none muri bya bisheke.
Again, she took me, put me on her back, and carried me back to the sugarcane plantation.
Ubwo abatutsi b'iwacu bari baramaze gushira, interahamwe zatangiye kubura abo zica, zikajya zijyana imbwa mu ishyamba no mu bitare mu masenga, guhigamo abatutsi baba barasigaye.
At that point, there were almost no Tutsi to be killed. There were no Tutsi remaining in the area, and the killers were now using dogs to hunt any remaining Tutsis, like under rocks and other places where they could hide.
kunjyana rero aho mu bisheke yarasigaye ajyana aho yansize ngewe nkahita mpimuka kugira ngo hataza kuba hari uwamukurikiye akambona.
And every time she would bring me to the sugarcane plantation, I would, as soon as she left, I would move to a different location so that no one finds me. So I was suspecting that maybe someone has followed her and will know where I am.
Nari maze ho nk'iminsi 3 numva igitero kiri kuvuza induru hejuru ku musozi ngo Setiba yaje ngo nabarabamara. Yari interahamwe yitwaga Setiba, yakoraga ku nkengero za Nyabarongo hose igenda bica Abatutsi n'abagiye bava muri Nyabarongo bihishe mu bisheke.
In another couple of days, I heard interahamwe or the killers screaming that Setiba has come, and this was one of the famous killers who was hunting anyone hiding along the riverside and making sure everyone there is eliminated.
Yohereje imbwa mu bisheke.
He sent dogs to the sugarcane plantation.
Kubw'amahirwe ahantu narindi hari imirambo, nari nagiye mbere y'iyo mirambo kugira ngo ngereho byasabaga nka metero 3.
Luckily, where I was hiding this time, I was hiding behind many bodies, dead bodies, and there were like 3 meters to reach me through those bodies.
Zaraje zirahunahuna zumva ni imirambo, zirangije zisubira inyuma. Nabona ko nta bantu bakiri mu bisheke, afata interahamwe ze n'imbwa ze basubira kuri Nyabarongo aho twita kuri Muri.
He had the dogs sniff through the bodies, and after they realized all those were dead, they went back. So he took back his dogs and his killers and went to the bricks factory that is known as Ruriba, for those who know Kigali. That's where he went with his dogs and killers.
Uwo munsi numvaga ko ari wo munsi wa nyuma kuri nge. Imana yarahabaye. Izo mbwa zigenda zitambonye. Mbasha kongera kuvamo.
The day I thought was this time my last day, thank God it wasn't. I was able to leave that place.
Iminsi yari maze kuba myinshi wa mubyeyi ataza kundeba, ariko ubwanjye nari maze kumenya inzira yanyuragamo, narayizamutse nkagenda iminsi 2.
After a long time there, without the woman coming to see me, I knew my way back, so I took like 2 days to go up the hill and go to her home again.
Naragiye nsanga nta bantu bahari ngo bari barahunze.
I found no one there because everyone had fled.
Naragiye ninjira mu nzu, nararyamamo ko n'ubundi nari umupfu. Nagiye kubona mbona baragarutse, asanga ndacyaryamye muri ya nzu.
So I went into the house and just lay down there. I was dead anyway. Eventually, a few days later, they came back and found me in the house.
Ahansanze bahise bambwira ngo inkotanyi zaraje.
They are the ones who informed me that the RPF in Hotanyi have arrived. And I mean by that the army that saved the country against the genocide killers.
Yaramfashe arankarabya anyitaho bishoboka, atangira haciye iminsi mike ndakomeza kureba.
So she tried to take care of me by all means. She gave me, like, she would bathe me and give me some medicine, but eventually my situation continued to deteriorate.
Hari amavuriro amwe yabaga ari gukora ariko nta n'imiti bari bafite. Byanjyanye ahitwa Kwibuka, n'ubu hari centre de santé.
She took me to one of the health clinics there, Kwibuka Health Clinic, although most of those few clinics that were operating didn't even have enough medicine.
Hari umufurere witwaga Ramon.
There was a religious brother named Ramon.
Yaranyakiriye, hari n'abakobwa b'Abataliyani nibo banyakiriye, baramvura, bamaga imiti n'utunini twitaga vitamine. na fanta ya orange.
So I was received by that brother, religious brother, and Italian nuns, and they took care of me. All they used to give us was multivitamins and soft drinks.
Nahamaze iminsi banyitaho bishoboka. Uko naryamaga niyorosaga ikiringiti nagikuraho inzara z'ibirenge zikavaho.
They did their best to take care of us. Where I was laying, when I put a cover on my body laying in bed, anytime I tried to remove it, it would go with my nails.
Kugeza ubu nta rwara navukanye ngira n'izameze nyuma ya Jenoside.
Today, I lost all my nails from birth and just new ones that grew after the genocide.
Ubwo baramvuye ndakira nongera kuba umuntu bansubiza no mu ishuri.
Eventually, I healed, I became a living human being again, and even went back to school.
Amakaye nanditsemo bwa mbere nayakuye kwa Padiri Ramon.
The first notebooks I used at school were given by the religious brother Ramon.
Wa mukecuru ni wari ukomeje kundwaza yarajyanye iwe nkajya niga ntariwe ni naho nakomeje kuba.
So I stayed with the woman who had been protecting me for a long time, and she hosted me even when I was going to school.
Byageze aho naratangiye kwiga kumva ngo musaza wanjye ariwe yari yaragiye mu nkotanyi azaje gushaka ko hari umuntu iwabo waba warasigaye asanga ni jyewe wasigaye jyewe.
Later, as I was in school, I learned that my brother had joined the Rwandese Patriotic Front and had come back looking for anyone who would have survived from the family.
Byari ibyishimo ariko birimo n'amarira no kwisanga asanga umuryango wararangiye noneho ahasanze umwana w'imfubyi mutoya atazabasha kurera kandi n'abundi ari mu mirimo ya leta.
It was a mixed feeling of finding all the family exterminated on one hand, but being able to find the young sister. But on the other hand, also a young sister that is so young, or too young to take care of herself, in the eyes of a brother who is in the army, also young and probably unable to take care of his sister.
Ubuzima bwarakomeje n'umukecuru arandera bigera ko tubona famiye idufata mbona famiye ifata banjyana i Kigali niho nakomereje amashuri.
The woman continued to take care of me until I found another family in Kigali and proceeded with my school from there.
Ubuzima bugoye bwa Jenoside nabusoreje aho nkakomeza uko ubuzima nyuma ya Jenoside.
I'll stop there my journey during the genocide and we'll jump to the after genocide now.
Nyuma ya Jenoside nakomeje amashuri ntangiza primary nkomeza na secondaire. Igihugu cyacu cyakwishyuriye amashuri cyafashe za mfubyi zose zari zibasha kwiga batwishyurira amashuri nanjye ndimo ndiga primaire ndayirangiza njya muri secondaire nanatsinda neza.
Our new government took care of our education. They paid for our school fees in primary and secondary school, and I graduated and I passed my exams well.
Nibwo naje kubona na bourse komeza muri kaminuza.
And I got a scholarship from the government and went to university.
Ndayiga nitsinda neza.
Which also went well. I graduated from university.
Mbona n'akazi. Mbona umukozi wa leta.
And I successfully finished my university and went to work. I'm now a Rwandan government I'm now employed by the Rwandan government.
nyuma y'iyo nzira yose y'umusaraba naje kubona ako kazi muri leta nitanga uburyo bushoboka bwose nk'uko inkotanyi nazo zatwitangiye zikaza kurokora abari basigaye bakabasha no kudufasha tugakomeza n'ayo mashuri.
As a government worker, I continue to be a good public servant. I dedicate my life and my work to the hardest possible, just as the RPF did when they were trying to save us.
Nkomeza rero ndashimira inkotanyi buriya nizo zapfongeye kuduha ubuzima, nkongera kubaho, nkongera gushibuka. Naje gushaka abana babiri, umukobwa n'umuhungu, ni abana beza.
I want to thank the Inkotanyi, the RPF. Sincere gratitude for giving us life. They are the ones who gave us life back and allowed us to move on and moved on. I'm married and I have 2 children, 2 beautiful children, a boy and a girl.
Bishimisha cyane umubyeyi kubona ubyara umwana agasa na wa mubyeyi cyangwa wa muvandimwe wawe utagihari.
There is no such a thing that makes a parent happy as seeing their child resemble the people they lost.
Nongera gushimira rero namwita umubyeyi Muhammad ubushake bubagize kugira ngo abavandimwe ababyeyi n'inshuti babashe kubakura muri Victoria babashyingure hano.
I want to thank Mr. Mahmoud Toban for the dedication, for the hard work they did in finding a safe place for the bodies of our beloved ones, our parents, our siblings, our friends, to be able to rest in peace.
Byarashobokaga ko tutamenya aho bari.
We probably would never know where they were, where their bodies had landed.
Ariko kumva ko hari ahantu natwe tujya kwibukira biradushimisha, nubwo tuza tukarira tuba twibutse bya bihe byiza twagiranye.
We are very grateful for giving us this place where we can come and commemorate our beloved ones. Although it is a sad moment, it's also a moment of joy because we get to remember the great moments we had with our families before they got killed.
Nyuma yo gushimira rero abacikacumu rya Jenoside, hari byinshi twagiye duhura nabyo, hari ingengabitekerezo, hari n'ubuzima butari bworoshye, ariko cyane cyane ingengabitekerezo ya Jenoside ikomeza tubona kugenda itutumba nabyo bidutera ikibazo.
So now I want to speak on behalf of genocide survivors. We went through a lot, the consequences of the genocide, a very tough life, but more importantly, coming across the genocide, the ideology that continues to exist.
Hari abarescapés usanga mu gihugu bishwe, ugasanga hirya no hino hari impfu zagiye zibaho zitandukanye, ukibaza iyo mpamvu, kandi natwe duhora twigisha ubumwe bw'ibiri, twigisha never again, twigisha stop genocide, ariko hakabaho izo mpfu za hato na hato.
It's very deplorable to see that Tutsis continue to be killed. You hear a death here, a death there, despite our efforts to educate people on reconciliation, on never again stop the genocide. All those messages we try to give everywhere seem not to be heard everywhere.
Hari icyifuzo cyo nisabira abantu muri hano mwese, mubasha kugera ku bantu benshi, buri muntu wicaye aha hari icyiciro runaka ageraho, kandi birashoboka ko ijwi ryanyu hari aho ryakumvikana.
I want to ask you one thing. Everyone who is here has many contacts. you are able to reach many people. I know your voice will be heard by many. So I have something to ask everyone here.
Buri wese agiye avuga ngo stop genocide. Ni ijambo rito ariko risobanuye byinshi. Iryo jambo cyangwa se never again genocide. Hari aho ryagera. N'abandi bakomeza bifuza ko jenoside yagaruka. Hari aho ubwabo nabo bagera bakumva ko turi abantu. Abatutsi bari abantu. Ubu nta mututsi nta muhutu ukiri mu Rwanda, ariko hanze y'igihugu mu baturanyi hari abakitwa uko ubwoko buhari, ko hari abatutsi bahari. Icyo gihe rero twifuza ko cyangwa se twasaba ko buri wese yabigira imbere kubaho.
If every one of you could say stop genocide never again, and carry it as a meaningful message everywhere you go. In Rwanda, we have banned ethnicity and we are Rwandans. We don't see ourselves among Hutus and Tutsis. But in other countries, especially our neighboring countries, there are people, again, identified as Tutsis and targeted for killing for that. So if you carry that message, hopefully we can make sure we keep everyone safe.
Mu gihe rero uko bari baduhaye nasoza babwira nti mukomere muhumure, stop genocide and never again genocide. Murakoze.
To end my testimony, I want to give you a message of hope, a message of strength, as we all carry that message of never again to genocide.
Ambasaderi w'u Rwanda mu gihugu cya Uganda, banyakubahwa ambasaderi, banyakubahwa muhagarariye imiryango, muhagarariye ibihugu byanyu muri iki gihugu, imiryango mpuzamahanga, bagenzi banjye bavanye mu Rwanda, bantu mwese muteraniye hano, by'umwihariko abo twasanze batuye muri aka gace batwakiriye, ndabashuhuje.
Excellency, the guest of honor, Your Excellency, the High Commissioner of Rwanda to Uganda, distinguished ambassadors, representatives of foreign countries to Uganda, my fellows from Hongola, dear guests, I want to greet you first.
Mbere na mbere nagira ngo nihanganishe abafite ababo, no kuvuga abo twavanye Kigali tuje kwibuka abacu baruhukiye hano, ndabihanganishije kandi ndabakomeje.
First of all, I want to share a message of compassion with everyone who has their beloved ones resting here, especially those we came with from Rwanda.
Uyu munsi turibuka ku nshuro ya 31 Jenoside yakorewe Abatutsi.
Today we commemorate the 31st time the genocide against the Tutsi.
Twaje kwibuka ababyeyi bacu, abavandimwe bacu, inshuti zacu baruhukiye hano muri uru rwibutso rwa Jenoside yakorewe Abatutsi.
We came to remember our parents, our siblings, our friends resting here at this genocide memorial.
Turibuka abantu barenga 4,000 bashyinguye hano muri uru rwibutso.
We remember more than 4,000 people buried in this memorial.
Abatuje kwibuka bishwe urw'agashinyaguro, bicwa bajugunywe mu mazi mu migezi itandukanye,
kugeza ubwo bavuye mu migezi itandukanye yo mu Rwanda bagera hano muri Lake Victoria, bakaba bashyinguye hano uyu munsi tubibuka.
These people we commemorate experienced torture and terrible death and were thrown in rivers and until they were found at this place for the decent burial.
Jenoside y'Abayahudi irangiye, ibihugu byose, imiryango mpuzamahanga byavuze ko kandi byemeza ko jenoside itazongera kubaho ukundi.
After the Holocaust, countries, international organizations, the whole world said never again.
Nyuma yaho ubutegetsi bubi bwo mu Rwanda bwateguye jenoside, burayigisha, buyigisha abaturage, amahanga n'imiryango mpuzamahanga bibibona kuko babonaga ko hari gutegurwa jenoside muri 1994 bayishyira mu bikorwa.
And after they said never again, the government of Rwanda prepared the genocide. The terrible government of Rwanda with the poor leadership prepared the genocide, educated people for the hate in the eyes of the international community, and then they implemented the genocide.
Umuvandimwe wanjye wavuye hano watanze ubuhamya yavuze neza ko jenoside itari ikwiye kongera kuzabaho, yunga muri yo amahanga yari yaravuze ngo never again.
My fellow survivor who was here before said she wishes that genocide would never happen again, joining in the message from the international community.
Ikibabaje rero nuko jenoside yongeye ikaba mu Rwanda, amahanga yose arebera. Uyu munsi tukaba tuza kwibuka abantu nk'aba, babyeyi bacu bishwe bajugunywe mu mazi hirya no hino mu gihugu cy'u Rwanda. Hagiye hicwa abandi bahungiye mu nzibutso zitandukanye, hakaba harishwe abarenga miliyoni.
It's very sad to see that the genocide took place in Rwanda after that, and we lost more than 1 million people.
Uyu munsi ubu twibuka mu karere hari umutekano muke, ndavuga mu karere k'ibiyaga bigari.
As we commemorate, we know there is insecurity in the Great Lakes region.
Inkomoko y'uwo mutekano muke n'abasize bakoze jenoside mu Rwanda, ni imitwe itandukanye, ariko inkomoko ni umutwe wa FDR wasize ukoze jenoside mu Rwanda.
The cause of that insecurity is a group of those who committed genocide in Rwanda. Yes, there are many groups, but the cause is the FDLR, who left to the Congo after committing the genocide in Rwanda.
Uwo mutwe w'iterabwoba wa FDR ukora uko ushoboye kose ukabiba amacakubiri n'urwango bihembera nanone jenoside yakorewe Abatutsi.
That terrorist group, FDLR, does everything possible to disseminate the genocide ideology and ideology against of hate against Tutsi.
Ibyo bikorwa byose, ibyo bikorwa na FDR birakorwa amahanga arebera, ariko bimwe mu bihugu ntibishake kubona ukuri.
those acts from the FDLR are being committed in the eyes of the international community, in the eyes of countries, including some who don't want to see the reality.
Na n'ubu Abatutsi barakicwa, Abatutsi b'Abanyekongo barakicwa bazira ubwoko bwabo.
Today, Congolese Tutsis are being killed for the ethnic belonging.
Ntabwo bikwiye ko ibyo bikorwa bijyanye n'ingengabitekerezo ya Jenoside n'urwango no kwica Abatutsi cyangwa n'abandi batandukanye bafitanye isano nabo bikomeza.
The killing of Tutsis and related must cease.
Twebwe nka Humura Victoria warakoze umuryango w'abarokotse Jenoside wakorewe Abatutsi bafite ababo bagiye bicwa bajugunywe mu nzuzi.
We in Humura Victoria warakoze, the organization assembling those whose beloved ones were killed and thrown in rivers during the genocide against the Tutsis.
Uyu ni umwanya mwiza wo kubasaba cyane cyane abahagarariye ibihugu bitandukanye bari hano n'imiryango mpuzamahanga, kubasaba ko ku bufatanye bw'isi yose hakorwa ubuvugizi, ubwo bwicanyi bugahagarara, Jenoside igahagarara, ntizongere kubaho ukundi.
It's our time to beg of you that in your different countries, the different organizations that form the international community, that we all work together in partnership to put an end to those killings.
Turasaba ko hatakwirengagizwa inkomoko y'umutekano muke urimo uba mu karere, ahubwo nk'uko tubisobanuye bikumvikana, hanyuma ibihugu byose bigafatanya kurwanya ubwo bwicanyi.
We ask that no one closes their eyes in the face of the reality. We just explained where this conflict in the Congo, this lack of security in the Congo, in the eastern DRC comes from, and we want these killings to stop.
Kuba uyu munsi tuza kwibuka abacu bari aha, nuko hari ababigizemo uruhare kugira ngo iyi mibiri y'abacu ibe aha ngaha.
If we are gathered here to remember our beloved ones buried here, it's because there are people who made an effort to make this happen.
Niyo mpamvu dushimira Mahmoud Tobani ndetse na timu ye mu bikorwa byiza bakoze byo kurohora imibiri y'abacu uyu munsi bakaba bashyinguye aha ngaha.
That's why we want to express our gratitude to Mr. Mahmoud Tobani and his team for having retrieved the bodies of our beloved ones and buried them.
Turashimira kandi ambasade y'u Rwanda muri iki gihugu cya Uganda, irangajwe imbere na High Commissioner ndetse na timu bafatanyije, uburyo baba bateguye ibikorwa bijyanye no kwibuka, ndetse natwe tukagira uruhare kuza kwibuka abacu baruhukiye aha ngaha.
We also want to thank the Rwandan High Commission to Uganda, led by Honorable Ambassador and his team, for all they do in order to be able to gather us here for this very important commemoration.
Nubwo ariko hari abahagaritse iyo Jenoside.
Even though many were observing as the genocide was being perpetrated, there are also those who stopped it.
Turashimira ingabo zahoze ari za FPR, ingabo zari zirangajwe imbere na nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika Paul Kagame kuba zarahagaritse Jenoside, uyu munsi tukaba twibuka abacu.
We thank the former Rwandese Patriotic Front that was led by His Excellency Paul Kagame, our current president, to have been able to stop the genocide. And now we are here to commemorate our beloved ones.
turashimira nyakubahwa perezida wa repubulika Paul Kagame kuba yarahagaritse jenoside n'ingabo yarayoboye uyu munsi tukaba dufite ubuzima twibuka abacu.
We thank His Excellency Paul Kagame and the people he worked with to have stopped the genocide and given us life, and now we are here commemorating our beloved ones.
Turashimira igihugu cya Uganda.
We want to thank the country of Uganda.
Igihugu cya Uganda ni abavandimwe bacu batubaniye neza no kuba tuza kwibuka mu mwanya nk'uyu twibuka abacu bari muri iki gihugu nuko leta ya Uganda iba yabigizemo uruhare tukaba dufite umutekano muri iki gihugu. Ibyo byose turabishimira guverinoma ya Uganda.
The people of Uganda are our brothers and sisters. We thank you very much. The reason we are able to come here and commemorate with you is because this is a country safe, a country of brothers and sisters. And we send our gratitude to the government of Uganda for that.
Turabashimira kandi namwe mwese mwitabiriye uno muhango wo kuza kudufasha kwibuka abacu. Mwakoze cyane. Imana ibahe umugisha.
We thank everyone gathered here to support us, to be with us as we commemorate our beloved ones. May God bless you.
Mwakoze cyane.
Thank you. Let me start by thanking the president of Muri Group, who has just made a very good remarks, and also thanking the whole group from Rwanda. Our guest of honor, Honorable Alice Kabuyo, the Minister for Luero Triangle and Rwenzori region, Your Excellency, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps and Ambassador of Eritrea to Uganda, His Excellency Mohamed Suleiman Ahmed, Your Excellencies, the Ambassadors, High Commissioners, and heads of international organizations, defense attachés present, the chairman of Muri Group Association, religious leaders who have led us for the opening prayers. Today, the High Commission is pleased once again of the presence of members of Muri Group, which is an association of genocide survivors who came from Rwanda. Mwakoze cyane mugiye turabashima uruhare mugira. The commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda is an annual event and spreads to 100 days. It is commonly referred to as Kwibuka, a Kinyarwanda word for remembrance, and is an opportunity to pay tribute to the victims of the genocide. The theme for this year is Remember, Unite, Renew. We remember so that memory is kept for future generations. We unite because unity of Rwandans is and will always be our guide and priority. We renew because resilience, but not despair, by survivors of the genocide and the whole nation have been a key factor for renewing lives, and we call it in Kinyarwanda Twiyubaka. The genocide against the Tutsi took place in Rwanda from April to July 1994 and was the culmination of decades-long ethnic-based hate and ideology division instigated, taught, and spread since the colonial period in Rwanda by the colonial administrations, the missionaries, and emulated by the initial political parties that led Rwanda and built their policies on ethnic division and hatred against the Tutsi. This led to unpunished killings and massacres of Tutsis between 1959 to 1963 under the watch of the colonial military and administration. Ethnic division, marginalization, and persecution of Tutsi also marked both the First and Second Republics under President Gregoire Kayibanda between 1962 and 1963, and President Juvenal Habyarimana between 1973 and 1994, respectively, installing a culture of impunity, enabling deep-rooted hatred that led to the planning and execution of the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994. As mentioned, the genocide against the Tutsi was planned under President Habyarimana's administration, spearheaded by his ruling party, MRND, Mouvement Révolutionnaire National pour le Développement, and its affiliate extremist parties under the coalition of Hutu power between 1990 and 1994. A period marked by systematic killings of Tutsi by Hutu extremist militia, mobilized by local leaders and encouraged by media propaganda. From April 7, 1994, following President Habyarimana's demise, a full-scale genocide was executed across the country, led by the interim government spearheaded by President Dr. Theodore Sindikubwabo and the Prime Minister Jean Kambanda. Among the first victims were Hutu political opponents who were against the genocide plan, followed by a mobilization by ministers and prefects calling Hutu across the country to stand and get rid of their common enemy, the Tutsi. The genocide lasted 100 days, during which more than 1 million innocent Tutsis were killed. It was stopped in July 1994 by the Rwandese Patriotic Front, RPF in Watani, led by His Excellency Paul Kagame, our current president. The genocide against the Tutsi left the Rwandan society with an unimaginable magnitude of problems. Survivors found themselves living side by side with their killers in their communities, despite very high levels of hatred, fear, and distrust. A governable state was unthinkable, given the scale of the genocide and the extent of consequences. The government of national unity, established on July 19, 1994, prioritized national unity as a foundation for rebuilding the country. Reconciliation and resilience were the core objectives of their construction. And Ndi Umunyarwanda, I am a Rwandan, was the cornerstone value of the new Rwanda. Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, the 31st commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi is an occasion for Rwanda and friends of Rwanda to recall the commitment by the international community under the 1948 UN Convention on the prevention and punishment of the crime of genocide, and to enact legislations that engage them in fighting genocide and its ideology. A commitment that was reiterated by the UN Security Council in its resolution number 2150 of April 16, 2014, requesting member states to judge or extradite fugitives who committed the genocide against the Tutsi still living on their territory. Rwanda reaffirms its commitment to play its rightful role in fighting genocide ideology and preventing genocide, ensuring that never again translates into actions for generations to come. One of the horrible methods used by perpetrators was throwing victims into rivers, dead or alive. You have heard the testimony by the young lady who survived, who was thrown into the river, but by all odds she survived. Those rivers, example Nyabarongo, for example Nyabarongo and Kagera, are tributaries of Lake Victoria. So, within weeks, thousands of bodies were driven by the current of these rivers into Lake Victoria. These were unprecedented and terrifying scenes for the people living here on the shores of Lake Victoria, when they realized that those were lifeless human beings, or human bodies, sorry. I take this opportunity to thank the government of Uganda and the people of Uganda for showing the sense of humanity, empathy and solidarity by getting out all those bodies from the water and accord them decent burial here and in other two sites. Indeed, if it were not for the local communities here, especially Mr. Mahamoud Tobani, who together with some international humanitarian organizations and local leaders took it upon themselves to collect the bodies and bury them, we would not be here today to commemorate. And this has been repeated by the group which is here. Them coming here today, we really thank the government of Uganda and the people who had a direct involvement to make sure that we have our people buried here. We have 3 memorial sites along the lake. There is Kasesero in Rakai district with 2,875 bodies. Kasesero is where River Akagera powers into Lake Victoria. We have also Lambu in Masaka district with 3,337 bodies, and also have this one here in Golo in PG district with 4,771 bodies. As probably you have seen on the plaque at the graves, some were exhumed from Marembo and Gimo and reburied here. So the total number is 10,983 victims of the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda buried in Uganda. Our guest of honor. The genocide against the Tutsi was put to an end by the Rwandese Patriotic Army, RPA, which was the military wing of the Rwandese Patriotic Front in July 1994. Rwanda's reconstruction journey therefore started with the establishment of the transitional government of national unity, with the cornerstone of the new Rwanda. As we commemorate the 31st anniversary of the genocide against the Tutsi, we also celebrate 31 years of unity and resilience, and a whole new generation of Rwandans aspiring for a future free of hatred and built on the principles of a shared identity, Umunyarwanda, and committed to fight and prevent the resurgence of any forms of hatred and divisive politics. Therefore, education about the genocide is one of the most important ways to keep the memory of the victims alive. It is important to reflect on the roots and on the root causes and consequences of the genocide, so that not only Rwandans but the whole world at large take the necessary measure to punish the crime of genocide and prevent it from happening. The observance of the International Day of Reflection on the Genocide against the Tutsi on April 7th every year is a continued call to all UN member states, organizations of the United Nations system, and other relevant international organizations, as well as civil society organizations, to recommit to preventing and fighting against genocide and other serious crimes under international law, and underscores the importance of taking into account lessons learned from the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. Honorable Minister, Excellencies, despite major achievements and milestones in rebuilding Rwanda, among which unity and reconciliation, security, good governance, and welfare of survivors, there is still an increase of manifestations of denial and distortion of the planning and the execution of this genocide against the Tutsi, which costed the lives of more than 1 million people between April and July 1994. From afar, this ideology is being spread through social media platforms and online channels, and in some education and higher learning institutions. Some so-called researchers have been spreading the revisionist narratives of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi with all sorts of distorted namings or naming. For example, calling it double genocide, civil unrest, tribal killings, civil war, etc. The task ahead remains huge, and the international community should take responsibility to make sure that all perpetrators of the genocide against the Tutsi are punished wherever they are, and denialism should not be tolerated. Never again slogan should become a reality with tangible action to prevent history to repeat itself. As people who spoke before me mentioned, unfortunately the prevalence of the same genocide ideology that led to the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda is still being spread in some neighboring countries. We currently see in the Eastern DRC where local population, we currently see this in Eastern DRC where local populations are mobilized to kill Congolese Tutsis who they relate to Tutsis in Rwanda, erroneously. This is coupled by hate speech and other precursors of genocide incitement. We hope the international community is seeing this and actions should be taken. Minister, Excellencies, let me end my remarks by reiterating our gratitude for the government of Uganda and all of you who came to be with us during this commemoration. I thank you all for your kind attention. Mwebale nyonyo, mwebale ejara, asanteni sana, mwakoze cyane, and may God bless you. I will tell the people from Muri to bear with me. I had prepared to have a few words in Kinyarwanda, but let us have our minister have her remarks so that she can proceed in her other commitments. So let me have the honor to have this opportunity to invite our guest of honor, Honorable Minister Alice Kaboyo, to come and make her remarks. Your Honorable Minister.
Your Excellency, Colonel Joseph Rutabana, High Commissioner of the Republic of Rwanda, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Your Excellencies, Ambassador and High Commissioners, military attachés, heads of international organizations, Abatutsi, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the government and the people of the Republic of Uganda, I join the government and people of the Republic of Rwanda on this significant occasion as we commemorate the 31st anniversary of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. The theme is Remember, Unite, Renew. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, 31 years ago, many acts of brutality and inhumanity were carried out in Rwanda, resulting in the loss of 1 million lives. Today, we honor the lives lost and stand in solidarity with the survivors. We also reaffirm our pledge that this will never again happen. This day offers another opportunity to reflect on the past. We affirm our commitment to justice and renew our shared vision for a peaceful, just and reconciled Africa. The genocide against the Tutsi is one of the darkest chapters in history and serves as a stark reminder of the destruction that hatred, division, and impunity can cause. The survivors' resilience and willingness to forgive has enabled Rwanda to rebuild a just, reconciled, and inclusive society, which stands as a beacon of hope for the entire continent. Rwanda's journey proves that healing, justice, and unity are possible when there is commitment to accountability and reconciliation. Dear colleagues, and all here present, as we observe Kwibuka 31 years, we must all embrace peace and justice everywhere, and we must focus on empowering the next generation to protect peace. The rise of misinformation and hate speech, particularly online, possesses a serious threat to social cohesion and peace. Education must therefore be at the forefront of our efforts to combat these dangers. By fostering critical thinking and promoting human rights education, we can equip Africa's youth to reject division and violence and build a more inclusive society. Schools and universities must serve as spaces for dialogue, reconciliation, and mutual respect. I wish to recognize legal frameworks that criminalize the genocide ideology, including the 1948 UN Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, and the African Charter for Human and People's Rights. This significant event, therefore, is a call to Ugandans and all Africans to affirm their unwavering support to the prevention and fight against genocide, and to ensure that it never happens ever again. Distinguished guests, Rwanda and friends of Rwanda must also pay respect to those who sacrificed their lives. For Rwandans to live a significant life, this commemoration is a reminder to Rwandans and friends of Rwanda of how far they have come and how much has been achieved over the past 31 years. What the people of Rwanda have achieved since 1994 in their journey to unity, reconciliation, justice, and the preservation of the memory of the genocide is a lesson to the rest of the world. The transformation of Rwanda in terms of governance, economic recovery, social cohesion, and development is an exceptional achievement. It is an occasion to acknowledge a secure country, restore dignity, and rejuvenate hope for the Rwandan people. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Uganda and Rwanda have had warm and cordial relationships for many years, and long before the creation of artificial boundaries that split communities and families that were once one into two. The closeness of both countries is reflected in the similar cultures, including language and lifestyle. Bilateral relations between Rwanda and Uganda are mainly driven by the Joint Permanent Commission between the two countries. Rwanda hosted the latest JPC in March 2023, where decisions were made to further enhance cooperation between the two countries in areas of cross-border trade, free movement of persons, goods and services, mutual legal assistance, diplomatic and political cooperation, police cooperation, immigration, among others. Uganda looks forward to hosting our brothers and sisters from Rwanda at the next JPC once the dates are agreed upon by the two countries. Your Excellencies, allow me, on behalf of the government and the people of Uganda, to wish the government and people of Rwanda peace and prosperity, and may the leadership and solidarity between Uganda and Rwanda flourish. That is the official statement from the ministry, from the government. I did come here as a guest of honor. I had come here to join my friends, His Excellency the Ambassador of Rwanda, and his wife, to commemorate this function this day. So before I say thank you and end my speech, I can share a bit of history that I know that most of you know. I know most of you come from Uganda. Apart from the group that came from Rwanda, or has come from Rwanda, this history, those of you who are as old as me or older, it is very recent. Just like the speech retaliated, that we are intertwined, Rwanda and Uganda are intertwined. So, growing up, refugees this meant Rwandans, Rwanda who were in Uganda. That was before we also became refugees. That's when I understood the word. When we had to leave this country and become refugees elsewhere. So we've had bad leadership. And because we are intertwined here, Rwanda and Uganda, we suffer the same problems. When bad leadership is there, people suffer. Rwandans came here as refugees, and then later on, we also had to run away from the governance of this country. And the wars had to be fought for both countries to see the light for people to go back to their countries. So, I want to thank the leadership of these countries, both countries. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank the President of Uganda, because he's been a big brother to Rwanda. And I'm sure the leadership there learned a lot from him. I remember in UNLA when Amin was chased away, and the army, they started recruiting army, the fresh army that was supposed to take care of the country. Rwandans were not allowed to enter the army. Most of them who entered were chased away. I know some of the friends we lived with had to get out of the army. The trauma they faced around that time also was very bad. I'm sure that was the anger when they felt that they must go back and have a home. So, it is terrible because the leadership here also didn't leave the people who were settled. They sent them, they said, Rwanda, those who came, because I remember even my family was just away. In the argument, they would say, for us, we came early. Then they said, whether you came early or came recently, go home. It is terrible to know that you are sending people home when you know that they are going to be killed. And indeed, they were killed, as we have heard and we have known. So leadership is very important. I want to thank the leadership of Rwanda to keep this alive or live in the lives of people, for the young people to learn that this should never be again, it should never happen again in Rwanda, and it should never happen again here in Uganda, because we also lost about 1 million people. Although, of course, you tell your story better, and we shall learn from you to tell our own story. I want to thank the Ambassador of Rwanda, because after my discussion with Her Excellency, the First Lady of Rwanda, about this same thing, His Excellency, the Ambassador, organized a trip for me to go to Rwanda and visit these genocide areas. The genocide, especially Gisozi, and other heritage and memorial centers for the people who died. And it was a very good experience, which we want to emulate here in Uganda. I want to thank the owner of this land, Mr. Tobani. Thank you very much for this gesture. It was very humane. and the community here, and the people. Because I was here, I know what was happening. I saw those bodies. I want to thank you because you did a great job for our brothers and sisters to be buried and to be given honor. Yeah, I thank you, and I'm sorry I'm not staying with you. I have to travel to Iyumvire, but I will leave you with some verses in the Bible, especially the lady who was here, and all of you who lost your people. Some are here and others are in other places. We thank God that they have a place that you can come and cry and see and you know, keep the memory alive. I want to leave you with the word in Matthew 11, 23, verse 23. It says, "Come to me, all you who are burdened, and I will give you rest." Know that they rested. They are up there looking down on us. The whole thing reminds me of how Jesus himself was tortured until he died. So this is not new. Just know that all of us are going to die, but this should never happen. People should never be killed this way. And another verse is also in, let me not preach today. I thank you for listening to me, and God bless you, for God and my country.